You see, I can't do it cute like everyone else does it. Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ebony, and today I kind of wanted to go over my March TBR, and then I also wanted to do a little unboxing for my Book of the Month selections. For those of you who do not know me or anything about my life, which is probably just about everybody who is watching this video, so about a year ago, I had to move houses, and I had a very, very big book collection at that time. And by very big, I mean I had like one bookshelf of stuff that I had from about middle school to high school. I think everybody after high school like fell off the reading train. Like, we did not pick up as many books. We started working jobs and going to college. When do we have the time to read? I know. If that sounds like you, it also sounds like me. I used to be a very avid reader when I was in middle school and high school. Like, I'm talking, your girl would read multiple books a day. I would come home and be like, look, I finished this book in one day. As an adult, I kind of really wanted to get back into that love for reading and the enjoyment of just jumping into a world and getting to know new characters and a new environment and storylines. When I was younger, I also used to write on Wattpad a little bit, or Wattpad. I feel like everybody calls it something different, but we all collectively know what that website is. Unless you want a cringe video on that, just let me know down below. But other than that, let's pretend it doesn't exist and don't go looking for it. So about halfway through last year, I decided that I wanted to get back into reading, so I did very slowly. I was definitely in a very big book slump, and it was kind of hard to come out of that. I found that I kind of broke that book slump when I went on vacation because I had a lot more free time and time to myself. Surprisingly, the book that had pulled me out of that book slump was Verity by Colleen Hoover. And I know a lot of people, controversy, but let's just not talk about it. I enjoyed the book. If you didn't, that's on you. If you did, then I'm glad we're on the same page. But everyone is entitled to their own opinions, so we're gonna leave that at that. But it was a really good book. That definitely helped get me out of my very, very long adulthood reading slump. I'm gonna put all of the March books from Book of the Month up on the screen now for you guys. So this month they had 8 different books to choose from, and the first one was Wayward by Amelia Hart. The next book we had was The Adventures of Amina El Sarafi, and that was by Shannon Chakraborty. Also, do not know if I'm saying that right. That one was kind of a book about pirates. The next book that we had this month was The Last Russian Doll, and that was by Kristen Loesch, and that was a historical fiction. The next one we had was a contemporary fiction, and it was Rootless by Crystal Zara Apaya, something like that. Next up on the list, we had The London Seance Society, and this was by Sarah Penner. I think I said that one right. If I didn't say that one right, I would be very disappointed. That is a gothic fiction novel. So next up, we have The Soulmate by Sarah Hepworth, and this was a thriller novel. So the last book we have on the list is Lone Woman by Victor Laval, and this is a horror novel. There's definitely a lot of different options within these books, and when I seen them, I was almost kind of 50-50. I was like, do I want to read some of these? Do I not want to read some of these? I didn't really know how to feel. We've definitely had better options, but there were still a few that kind of piqued my interest and intrigued me. Lately, I have been on a fantasy, horror, thriller, mystery kind of a kick. So without further ado, let's get into my Book of the Month selections. As you guys can see, I might have gotten more than one book because I can't help myself, and I'm trying to regrow my book collection because I think I forgot earlier. I got cut off because I got distracted with my memory card not having enough memory on it. But when I moved last summer, I got rid of a majority of my books just because I've either read them or outgrown them, and there are more so teeny bop things that just aren't really in my area of things that I want to read anymore. So I really have been working on regrowing my book collection with new things that interest me now as an adult, because obviously my tastes have changed from when I was in high school to now. I'm 23 years old, so I don't think that my interests are going to be exactly the same because we all grow and we all change. I might have went a little overboard and picked out a couple books and not just a single book. We're getting discounts for hardcovers, and that's all that matters. Also, I'm wearing my PJs today, so let's not mind that, my little Pokemon pants. If you guys want to go in the comments below, you can type down which books you think that I picked before I open this box up and we just get into it. Go ahead, leave them now. Are you typing? Are you typing? All right, let's open this box up, you guys. And I don't know what order they have these in here, so just bear with me. Oh, I hit myself in my girlies. That hurt. Ooh, I'm so excited. Should I show you guys what's in here or should I just like pull them out one by one? Sneak peek, that's the first one. First out of the books. So the first book that I picked was Lone Woman by Victor Laval. I would say this book is definitely kind of hard to explain because the summary kind of left me guessing as to what is going to happen in this book. So I'm gonna go ahead and read this inside cover for you guys real quick so you can kind of get a better feel for what this book is about because I feel like I will not explain it as well. Also, I ain't the best out loud reader. I was the person where I was like, please skip me in class because I do not want to read out loud. A woman with a past, a mysterious trunk, a town on the edge of nowhere, and a bracing new vision of the American West. Adelaide Henry carries an enormous steamer trunk with her wherever she goes. It's locked at all times, because when the trunk opens, people around Adelaide start to disappear. The year is 1915, and Adelaide is in trouble. Her secret sin killed her parents, forcing her to flee to California in a hellfire rush and make her way to Montana as a homesteader. Dragging the trunk with her at every stop, she will become one of the lone women taking advantage of the government's offer of free land for those who can tame it, except that Adelaide isn't alone. And the secret she's tried to desperately lock away might be the only thing that will help her survive the harsh territory. Crafted by a modern master of magical suspense, Lone Women blends shimmering prose, an unforgettable cast of adventurers who find horror and sisterhood in a brutal landscape, and a portrait of early 20th century America like you've never seen. And at its heart is the gripping story of a woman desperate to bury her past, or redeem it. Historical fiction a little bit to you guys. I've been on a historical fiction kick, I'm not gonna lie. Last month for book of the month I read River Sing Me Home and that was my pick. It was so good. Not something that I ever read, but I actually really enjoyed it. And it's made me want to kind of pick up more historical fiction and things set in different ages, so I'm really excited for this. I like a good mystery, I like a little bit of horror, so hopefully this book turns out to be really good. Alright you guys, so the next book that I picked out was The London Seance Society, and this one is by Sarah Penner. So off the bat, this cover is super pretty. I am one that loves stories about magic and fortune telling and tarot and stuff like that. I think it's really interesting and really cool. Anything whimsical, I love it. That's kind of like what my arm is inspired by, is like very whimsical, magical things. I'm gonna go ahead and read this little inside cover for you guys so you know what's going on in this book. Amid the shrouded parlors of Victorian London, two darling women hunt for the truth and justice in the perilous act of conjuring the dead. 1873. At an abandoned chateau on the outskirts of Paris, a dark seance is about to take place. Led by acclaimed spiritualist Madeleine Delaire, known worldwide for her talent in conjuring the spirits of murder victims to ascertain the identities of people who killed them, she is highly sought after by widows and investigators alike. Lena Wicks has come to Paris to find answers about her sister's death, but to do so, she must embrace the unknown and overcome her logic-driven bias against the occult. When Vaudeline is beckoned to England to solve a high-profile murder, Lena accompanies her as an understudy. But as the women team up with the powerful men of London's exclusive seance society to solve the mystery, they begin to suspect that they are not merely out to solve a crime, but perhaps entangled in one themselves. So basically, a psychic solves crimes. We have a woman looking for answers, so she wants to study behind this psychic, but they're going to get tangled up in a mess that we do not know anything about yet. Hopefully this is going to be a good read. It seems like it'll be something that's a little more fast-paced. Super excited to read this one. Now the last book that I chose was The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth. Now this book sounds like it's gonna be good. This book sounds like it's my cup of tea. It's got a little bit of murder mystery, it sounds like, inside of it. So for those of you who don't want to hear about darker themes or mental health things, go ahead and skip this portion of the video because the summary does have a little bit of a darker theme in it. So if that makes you uncomfortable or you're not cool with that, just go ahead and skip this portion of the video. For those of you who are cool with that, I'm gonna go ahead and read this for us now. Picture a lovely cottage on a cliff with sloping lawns, walking paths, and beautiful flowers. It's Gabe and Pippa Wright's dream home in a sleepy coastal town, but their perfect house hides something sinister. The tall cliffs have become a popular spot for people to end their lives. Over the past several months, Gabe has come to their rescue, literally taking them off the ledge. Until one day, he doesn't. When Pippa discovers Gabe knew the victim, the questions spiral. Did the victim jump? Was she pushed? And would Gabe, the love of Pippa's life, her soulmate, lie? As the perfect facade of their marriage begins to crack, the deepest and darkest secrets begin to unravel, because sometimes the most convincing lies are the ones we tell ourselves. This one's at the top. This was definitely probably my favorite out of all the picks. I would definitely say my picks for this month go like The Soulmate being number 1, London Seance Society being number 2, and then Lone Woman being number 3. But I just feel like this month had a lot of books that were up my alley, and so, like I said, trying to grow my book collection. So I did kind of splurge this month. At the same time, I do not feel as bad because I am getting a deal on the hardcovers through Book of the Month. No, this video is not sponsored. If you would like to sponsor me, feel free because I would love that. So without further ado, I want to jump into my March TBR. So I have a couple different things that I want to read this month. My list is a little ambitious. I will say I'm probably not going to get through all these. I am in college. I work full time. So making time to read is definitely a little more difficult. I don't just have hours and hours and hours on hand to read every day, but I try to make it a habit to read instead of picking up my cell phone most days, and also to read before I go to bed instead of like watching Netflix or Hulu, wasting my time on shows when I could be engulfed in a book and loving it. But without further ado, let's get into this TBR, you guys. Alright, so the first book on my TBR is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I do not have the cover on it right now because when I read the book, I do not want to keep the cover on because I'm afraid of messing it up. So we just have a bear baby today. I have actually already started reading it and made a pretty good dent, and I'm actually annotating this book a little bit. And by annotating, I mean literally like putting tabs in the book and not underlining anything, just putting the tab on the line that I like because I'm a little lazy, and it's not color-coded or anything special. It's just colored to the theme of the cover of the book. But so far, I am loving this book. It is so pretty. I love the way that it is written and loving the characters and the storyline. I don't know what I thought going into this book. I went into it knowing it was like a Hollywood star and she had a bunch of husbands and it was gonna go through like the timeline of that. I didn't realize that it was actually going to be like in the perspective of her telling her story to a journalist. So that was kind of a surprise to me. So far, it's really good. Let me tell you. Currently, I'm on page 219, and I will say this book has already made me laugh. It has already made me cry. It has already broke my heart a little bit. So we're not even done. We're only a little over halfway through, and it's already been a roller coaster of emotion. So like, I'm amping up for this to be a 5-star read, honestly. I think it's gonna be a 5-star read this month. That is the first book on my TBR, and this one obviously we're gonna finish because we've already started it. So yeah. The second book on my TBR this month is A Man Called Ove. I think that's how you pronounce it. If I'm wrong, just correct me. I've seen a lot of people say really good things about this book, and I wanted to kind of include a tearjerker in my TBR this month because I love to put myself through pain and misery. I love to get attached to characters and then cry about characters in a fictional realm. A lot of people have said that this is the book that'll do it to you. Now, like I said, I try to stay away from spoilers for the most part for like all my books, so that means I try to stay off of book talk as much as possible, and when I'm watching YouTube videos about these books, I try to make sure that all of them are spoiler free. So this book seems like it is about a man who's kind of grumpy, not always very happy, and his life kind of gets turned upside down when he gets new neighbors, and his neighbor has some rowdy daughters. And I'm not kidding you, that's about all I know about this book, is a grumpy old man and some noisy neighbors. Everyone's been raving about this book, so I hope that me taking my chances on it is going to be worth it, and this is definitely one of those books that I want to get through this month. And I will say I really like this like inside cover, like how it has art, even though it's not a hardcover. And then also like for each of the little chapters, it has like a little doodle, and some of them have sayings. I don't know if they all have sayings. So yeah, this is my second book on my TBR, you guys. So my camera overheated. So the next book on my TBR this month is If We Were Villains by Emal Rio. I think this book would be considered dark academia. Correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not completely positive on it. So out of these 7 people that were involved in a situation that happened, one person ended up getting locked up, and now it is 10 years later, and this person is kind of ready to tell their story of what actually happened, but no strings attached. Like, you can't take me to jail if I tell you the truth of what happened. It's based around like plays and theater and school, I'm pretty sure. But I have heard a lot of good things about this book, which makes me really excited to read it. There goes my mom. And you know, you have to be careful when people recommend things, because I have read some books that people have recommended where I have been like, this is not that good. Normal People by Sally Rooney. I got beef. I have beef with Normal People by Sally Rooney because I had such high hopes for that book and it was just flat. Like, it was so flat. Yeah, you put the normal in normal and I was not as interested as I thought I would be, but that's a video for another day. I don't know what order I'm going to read these books in, but I'm excited to read all of them, any of them. Maybe I'll randomly pick the books I read this month off of this list, who knows. So the next book on my TBR for this month is Crying in H Mart. So I'm pretty sure all of you have heard a lot of things about this book. So this book follows a character who's a waitress, and at the same time she is trying to find her way into the music industry and kind of launch her music career, and all of this ends up getting put on hold when her mother falls ill with cancer and she has to fly back home to take care of her mother. Now she comes from a very strong Korean background where, you know, you're meant to be one specific thing, follow one specific path in life, and that's obviously not the path that our character follows. So pretty much the inside of this book says it's a powerful story about family, food, grief, and love. Hopefully it's a book that hits my heartstrings because, like I said, I like to cry apparently. I like to put myself through pain. I've said that with a couple of the other books that I have on my list for this TBR this month. So hopefully this book is up there on my top, hoping to give this book a 5-star review, but we shall see. Are we ready, you guys? Am I about to be basic? Am I about to be very basic? The last book on my TBR for this month is A Court of Thorns and Roses. I want to start ACOTAR, you guys, and does the thought of starting ACOTAR scare the crap out of me? It does, because you want to know why? There are some very thick books in that series. There are some really thick books in that series. So when I start a series, I get into this mindset like I'm in this world, like I just have to continue this series. And I will not pick up any other books until I'm finished with that series or I put it down because I don't like it. And now, I don't know how I've done it. It is 2023 and I have managed to stay away from almost every single spoiler about ACOTAR that there is, because this is one I've really tried to stay away from because it's something that's so hyped up and so many people talk about and so many people love that I did not want to ruin anything. So I know nothing about this series. I know that there is fairies and there's some romance in there. I don't know if it's spicy romance or not spicy romance. I couldn't tell you. I know that it is a retelling of like Beauty and the Beast, so I've heard. So yeah, I wasn't even really gonna read the description of it. I just kind of grabbed it because I knew that everyone liked it. I am easily swayed by public opinion. That's why this book is in my hand, and I actually have bought all the books because I'm a fiend and I can't help myself and they look really pretty, so I went ahead and I bought all of them together. But if anything, I think I will save this book for last, and if I do get twisted up and enthralled in this and thrown into this world and just absolutely love it, then I don't feel like pressured that I need to like pause or take a break and read something else. So definitely gonna save this book for last. I think also out of these 3 books, I think the top one that I'm gonna try to get read this month would be The Soulmate, because this was kind of my initial pick for the month. These 2 are just extra books, so if I have extra time or if I'm on a whim, I can pick one of those up because I know that they're gonna be good reads as well. So this is my entire TBR for the month of March. Now, do I think that I'm going to get through all these books? Absolutely not. So we're definitely gonna try to knock out a couple of these bad boys. We're almost done with The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. That'll already be one off the list. So if you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button down below. So if you have any book recs that you would like me to read or you want me to check out, definitely leave those down below so that I can see them and maybe take a look and maybe even pick some out for a video. Also, if you like this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can see more videos from me. I'm going to be making more bookish content and also art content because that is what I'm majoring in school. So that is it for today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to grab your favorite book, cuddle up in a blanket, grab your support animal, and read something nice. Peace out, Cub Scouts.